Your guiding light is all I know. Through wood and steel, through fire and lace, I'm blessed to walk within your grace. Is to a throid arcane. You laid the path before me. You guided every step. Raise the hammer, string the bow. Her gift is all I need to know. Through toil and trial, through heart and hand, her grace builds up this mighty land. Is the grass the dead time it's sure? We'll build the land, our hearts within. From dawn till dusk, I work, I strive. With your blessing, I'll survive. The loom, the forge, the sword, the grain in your name, I rise again. And chill, got Bua, got Tolan, got Trio. In you lies strength, in you lies skill. Each victory, each talent, each trial. No task too great, no skill too small. Your gifts, dear goddess, guide us all. Into force. Without your light, we have no guide, but with your hand, our place abides. Raise the hammer, string the bow. Her gift is all I need to know. Through toil and trial, through heart and hand, her grace builds up this mighty land. Is the grass the dead? By the grace of the goddess we are free. We'll build the land, our hearts within. I'm blessed to walk within your grace. Blessed by her grace, forever.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Pax Dei, the search for steel. Welcome back. We are, I'm trying to turn off the monitor, excuse me. We are looking to finalize this series, Crafting Societies for Human Flourishing, Bridging Ancient Wisdom and Modern Science. I'm your host, Daniel, and Emfir, as you can see, front and center. He's our avatar. And tonight, we're stepping into something monumental. This is episode 118, and the fourth and final chapter in our four-part series, which aired at 8 Central and airs this weekend, 8 Central, and today on March 21st, 2025. If you've been with us since episode 115, you've walked through this path with me from the start. We began, excuse me, excuse me. Where was it? We started this by exploring core virtues like compassion that shapes us as individuals and bind us as communities. In 116, we dug into how behaviors and beliefs evolve, guiding societies through time And last time, in episode 117, we saw compassion as the glue that holds us together. Turning to a group of people, or turning a people into a living, breathing whole. Tonight, we're taking all of that, we're reaching a little bit higher in how do we design societies that don't just keep us going, but let us thrive, where we feel a deep sense of belonging, find balance in a hectic world, and grow into our fullest potential, what we call self-actualization. This is about flourishing, living with purpose, connection, and strength. Over the next couple of hours, we will be traveling the globe from New Zealand's practical community-focused policies to India's Panchayati Raja system. I'm going to butcher some names tonight. A village governance model that has been running strong since the 1950s will blend ancient wisdom like Aristotle's eudaimonia, eudaimonia. There we go. With, I have little pronunciations on the side, so just FYI as I'm doing this. I almost forgot to let everybody know we're here. Okay. We'll blend the ancient wisdom and we'll take insights with insights from modern psychology, neuroscience, and economics, as well as some leadership styles of today, right? Or what we think of as modern leadership styles and or practices. I'm going to take a shortcut. Boom. We are going to go get some cotton on our journey today, because we need to. So in this, I need to be as, how should I say it? We have to be as frugal as possible when determining or bringing, because I want to maximize the amount of carrying capacity that we will have. All right. There we go. All right, so right now I should have a spell, so let's check if I have a spell. I do have a spell. And that needs to come. It's called Pacify. And then I'll take my arming sword. And what else do I want to take? With an arming sword, I'm going to take a shield. So I'll take a shield. And a balanced spear. We'll take the axe just in case. We'll add that. And we'll actually do this. Add it. If you're a gamer, you have these. How can I open it? You have the keystrokes in your memory. So you don't want to move things from where they need to be. All right. And we'll start running down the south. Cool. Nobody's really built up around me ever since they got here, which means they really haven't been playing. This game is... You have to be really intentional to play this game. But anyway, All my notes are on my other screen. So compassion, as we explored it in the third episode in the series, isn't the end game. It's the starting point that makes belonging possible. Right? So, which opens the door to self-actualization and balance. There will always be a few who disrupt this. Selfish or contrary folks. They have a major glitch going on. Moving from one area to another. Alright, didn't kill me, so that's good. I got weapons. Yeah, I can't attack bears until I figure out how to kill them again. That'll take an entire episode because I won't be able to read my notes and talk about this important topic that I'm trying to finalize here in episode 4. So, selfish or contrary, folks, but history and science give us solid ways to bring them along, building a society where individualism shines within a strong community. Whether you're a longtime listener or just joining us, I've got stories and ideas that keep you hooked. So settle in with a coffee or tea, depending on how late it is. Beer, maybe whiskey, wine. Imbibe what you will. So let's dive into this grand finale together. All right, let's get started by digging into what it takes for a society to help us flourish. That's the idea, right? We want to flourish. Every society wants to flourish. What's the definition of flourish? I'll keep that. Let's have that conversation in the chat. Everybody has a little different a different way of thinking about it, right? All right. So we're zeroing in on 2 key ideas tonight: self-actualization and belonging. These aren't fancy buzzwords. They're the heart of a life worth living. Self-actualization is when you hit your stride. When you're firing on all cylinders. Maybe you're crafting that guitar riff you've been hearing in your head, or fixing up old cars because it's what you love to do. Starting a podcast in a passionate subject, or teaching someone a skill that changes their day. It's all about becoming the best version of yourself, not because somebody told you to. And that's a very, very key. I'm not telling you. I want to give you the tools to do it yourself, right? It's because you want, because who you are deep down, that's important. Belonging's the other piece of this puzzle, right? It's that solid, reassuring feeling of having a place, whether it's with your buddies over a beer, your family at the kitchen table, or a crew you work alongside. It's knowing you're not on your own out there, right? That you've got folks who have your back. Together, these two drive flourishing. A life that's not just about punching the clock, but about purpose and connection. And I think all of us will relate to that very much so. To wrap our heads around this, let's look at Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Picture a pyramid with 5 levels. At the bottom, you've got the must-haves. Food, water, roof over your head, shelter, right? The stuff that keeps you alive. Next up is safety. A steady job. A locked door. Some certainty that tomorrow's not going to fall apart. Once all of those are covered, you hit love. and belonging. Friends who show up, family you know. A group that feels right. Then comes esteem, feeling solid about yourself. Maybe earning a nod for a job well done, or just knowing you're worth something. At the top is self-actualization, where you're free to chase what sets your soul on fire. Whether it's whether it's building something with your hands, or dreaming up a new way to solve a problem. Maslow, an American psychologist from the mid-20th century, figured we climb this pyramid step by step. We get one need sorted, then we reach for the next. I'm scrolling through the notes. Alright, looking to see if I'm going to die from a bear attack. Should be, they replaced the animals after the update, so I have to. I'm not sure exactly where all the animals are. Okay. Now it's not a perfect setup, right? Everything has its nuance. Some folks point out that it's got a Western lean, right? Maslow, he's Western, right? Focused on the individual pushing upward, which doesn't always fit places where groups matter more, like rural China or tribal societies. Researchers like Mohammed Waba and Lawrence Bridwell back in the 1970s poked holes in it as well. No hard proof we follow this exact order. However, it's a good start, right? It gives you the ideas. Should have been a bear here. There is no longer a bear here. The only other reason for that is if somebody is hunting bear tonight. I don't want to waste an arrow on this, but come on, buddy. We'll drop them later. Some deer. Bears moved, so I'm wondering if the dire wolves down here move. Well, in essence, you know, Maslow's hierarchy is more academic, right? Life's scrappier. You just might be flat broke, but still need your pals, right? Or safe, but itching to build something big. Still the big takeaway here. But something attacked me. Looks like a dire wolves are gone now. Interesting. One of the greatest parts of this game is I'm adventuring to get to the location where I want to adventure from. It's pretty cool, I think, in this game. Very interesting stuff. Usually there's a dire wolf to the left. They're all around this area, as a matter of fact. Ah. I'm just gonna take the bow off at this point. Might as well get my skinning up, right? It's harder than it looks. There we go. There should be a dire wolf coming up soon as well. Anyway. So I think the big takeaway here is that holds with Maslow's hierarchy of needs is we're built to grow and connect, no matter where we're standing. Really? There we go. Unfortunately, the game doesn't take into account that arrows fly really straight depending on the bow. There's always this little arc, even with the game. It's weird. Could just fight with the axe at this point. I'm only going for cotton. That is it. Anybody who's coming behind me is gonna reap the rewards. Okay. So let's jump back to ancient Greece, right? Around 350 BCE, before Common Era's BCEs. Otherwise, BC is, some people say before Christ, right? But Christ was, anyway, BC, with Aristotle. Maybe I'll do a whole episode on the modern naming method. I thought I heard something. Okay. Anyway. So he called flourishing or eudaimonia, or eudaimonia, which is a Greek term for simply living well. This wasn't about kicking back with a cold. This was about living with virtue. Courage meant facing tough stuff, like calling out a bad call at work, or temperance, keeping your cool, not flying off the handle, right? Or temperance. Wisdom was cutting through the noise to see what's right, right? For Aristotle, you didn't do this alone. Your palais, your town or community, had to be strong as well. If your neighbors were struggling, your own flourishing took a hit. Think of it like a team. If one of your guys slacking, the whole squad feels it. It's individualism. Your grit, your virtues tied to the group's health. Have a balance that's as old as dirt and still rings true today. Alright, as we get up here, I'm going to have to maneuver between two screens. Hopefully they didn't change too much of the animals. I'm going into what they consider a three skull area. Anyway, but even then, you had a few bad. If you had a few bad apples, folks would rather mess up things than pitch in, right? Take Alcibiades. 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 I'm gonna butcher these. An Athenian big shot around 400 BC. He talked up the courage and wisdom like a champ, but he was all about himself. Switched sides in the Peloponnesian War from Athens to Sparta, to Persia just to stay on top. Real piece of work, right? He didn't care about the polis. He cared about his own skin. Athens had a fix. Ostracism. Which, that's one hell of a fix. All right, let's go back into the game real quick. And what you want to do is you want to go into gathering, and I want to forage. So I'll pray to the goddess. And as you can see, I get a little bonus by picking up the with the blessing. Let me know if you hear my keyboard, by the way. Worked on a little bit of modification on the sound today. Hopefully it's for the better, but I really am struggling on my microphone for some reason, going through BS, and I'm not sure why. So if you have any tips, put them in the chat, or go ahead and DM me or email me, or not email, but DM me on X, comment underneath the video. I would be appreciative. So they ostracized them, right? And they'd be gone for 10 years. So historian Thucydides says it steadied things. It gave the group breathing room and the troublemaker time to rethink. It's not about revenge. It's about keeping the balance so most can survive with a shot, right? With a shot at bringing the outliers back. So there was an element of redemption, right? Very important, by the way. Redemption. After you've paid your penalty, if you continue to pay the penalty, you'll never redeem yourself. Not only in the eyes of people around you, but also after your punishment. Yourself, you'll think you've been punished. Some of us will go into a shell, kind of like, man, I'll never be able to make it right. And sometimes, and this is where people on both sides have to grow. If you're punished and the punishment is just, then there should be nothing else said. I'm still looking for time. It's been a few times in this area that I either didn't notice the cotton at first. I don't know. All I know is the cotton seems to have moved. That's okay. All right. So let's fast forward a little bit to today with self-determination theory. That's a cool theory. Well, what is it? It's from Edward Deci and Richard Ryan. They say we've got three needs: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Autonomy's running your own show, maybe ditching a dead-end gig to fix up houses because that's your thing. Competence is nailing. Folks line up for you, your work, right? They want your work. And then relatedness is having people, your crew at the bar, your family, your workmates, who keep you grounded. It's individualism, your drive, mixed with community, your times. In episodes 3, compassion fits here. Our ancestors stuck together to make it. And relatedness keeps that alive. And science backs it. The University of Oxford studies show that belonging kicks off oxytocin, maybe. Anyway, a hormone that builds trust, like a natural high from high five from your brain. And we'll get into chemical reactions, I think, in later episodes. But a lot of our behavior as humans are dominated by chemical reactions. Our pairing is a chemical reaction. Our quote unquote mating pairing is a chemical reaction. Love is a chemical reaction. Relatedness, it seems, is a chemical reaction. Trust, right? This is a life hack. If you can hack it, you'll get people to trust you that normally might not. So anyway, as always, we still have to consider that selfish minority because it's always going to pop up, right? A boss who says we're a team but piles on extra hours worth of work. Anyway. Or a guy who only shows up when it suits him. Right? We've all had those people. That's, I don't think, anything new. What's another good example? Hard. But more importantly, how do you fix it? Oh, there's a new update. It comes out if you have the ability to, or the tool to perform the action, it will go to that tool, automatically draw it. It will draw and use that tool. These trees can be cut down by the axe I'm carrying. So as you saw, it automatically went to the axe to chop down the tree. I don't need it because I'm going to use my current wrought iron arrows. There is a lot less wildlife, it seems. Now, taking the scenic view. Yeah, swimming in play, right? So look at the old tribal ways. Take the Maori in New Zealand. They sit troublemakers, down with a group. They hash it out, give them a job to make it right, which is restorative justice, and they call it. That's what it's called now, restorative justice. In 2023, New Zealand study showed 70% of the folks who went through this stuck around and shaped up. Compassion pulled them back and not by force, right? Wow. Interesting. Doesn't look like they fixed fall damage. This is a nice little area. It's an ancient site. Nothing to see here yet. Again, there's still a little mountain. So, now these were not here before. I'm thinking. So economics matters too, right? So gross domestic product, or GDP, right? Let me look at my notes here. So GDP tells you how much a place makes, but now not how folks feel. That's important. That's a very, very important distinction. Country could be rolling in cash with people miserable. GDP doesn't care. It's a metric, right? Richard Leonard says track well-being instead. New Zealand's well-being budget since 2019 put 1.9 billion into mental health, cutting wait times by 30% by 2024, per their stats. The OECD Better Life Index looks at health, learning, and how tight people are. This is my turn. I'm looking at my notes. And not just money, right? So this in the OECD index is looking at the how tight people are, not just the money. Martha or Martia Sen and Martha Nussbaum push the capabilities approach, right? The quote unquote capabilities approach. And it's getting dark out, so I'm gonna have to keep looking back at the screen for my notes. I know you guys are excited when I'm wearing my armor and I'm going into the unknown. I know this area. So if you like Pax Dei, this is a really dangerous area. If you don't know how to avoid certain things, you will be. Pax Dei is a good game where you learn to run. Let's just say it in those terms. I forgot. They did do the 5.4 Unreal Engine update, which means, excuse me, the animals that are tied to the land or where I used to know them, where they would show up, they will move because it's a new engine for the land itself. I just now put that together as I'm reading Self-Actualizations. Okay, so Nussbaum and Sen look at the quote compatibilities approach, or capabilities approach. It's when it's about what you can do, like start a shop or learn a trade, not just what you've got. That's individualism, your chance, backed by a setup that works for most. Disruptors, like tax dodgers, mess it up. Sweden's public tax records cut evasion 15% in a decade per 2022 data, nudging them back with clear rules, not handouts. And how many of us just want the system to play fair? Just tell me what I need to do, and I'm not going to bitch and complain. If you give me something on my taxes that I have to figure out and really dive deep into with great mathematical formula, it kind of it makes the ones who don't want to participate in our society literally not participate in our society. And that could be through a myriad of reasons, right? Looks like they changed the landscape a little bit more than I anticipated. So I gotta keep looking every once in a while here. I want to run into any nasties on this side. These nasties are one heck of a battle. The good news is I don't have to deal with mists, which is always a stress reliever. Oh, there we go. Yeah, they're down there. They're not the weakest link. We'll just say it that way. You hear that scary stuff, right? Ooh, scary. See how they react. They might have changed their aggro distance as well. Let's see what happens. Because there was some cotton around really close to their aggro distance. There we go. There we go. Since I'm right next to him, I'm gonna... I just pick up flint. Right now, at my level, that's the one of the more useless commodities. Do I need it? I don't think I do, actually, to build anything up. It's really a lower level material. Common material, I would say. Alright, let's see. See that? Little game tips intermingled with some awesome knowledge of the ancients. You know you love this channel. Alright. So, flourishing needs basics met, right? That's the ultimate. You need to be flourishing, you need all your basics met. A crew to lean on, and a room to be you, excuse me. Compassion starts it, like episode 3. We showed that. A few will buck it, buck the system, but ostracism and talking it out should bring them back if they're honest people, right? Most want it when it's real. Meaning, if I'm offering it to you, it's out of compassion and justice. I am offering you this solution, and I'm not going to hold it against you. It's a very important concept, because if you are going to hold the conversation against somebody, like, for example, the Miranda rights of the United States. I forget when that happened. It happened in like 1970s, I think. Miranda. It was actually a case, and the judge was like, well, out of this case, now the police, when you do arrest somebody for a crime, you have to read them the fact that they have rights, just to ensure that they understand that they do have rights. Well, until then, police will literally take anything you say and use it against you in a court of law. And they don't care. They will... Their lie... and let me preface, not all, but it only takes a few to spoil the bunch, right? I'm going to, I'm not going to think they're honest, and then in their police report, they're like, yeah, this guy did it because he admitted it. Whatever that is, right? So there are things like that we're talking about here. So anyway, we've got the groundwork. Now let's dive into the big ideas, the philosophical and psychological stuff that shows us how to build societies when flourishing is the norm. This is about your potential and your people. Balancing individualism with a community that's got your back. A few will always push against it, selfish or just ornery people. But we've got ways from way back and today to pull them back in. So let's start talking, unfurling. Let's start with Aristotle in ancient Greece. Again, around 350 BC. So his deal was the eudaimonia, living well, right? Not lounging with a beer, but living with your guts. Courage to stand up. Temperance, I should say. To keep steady. Wisdom to see straight. You worked at it daily, right? But it wasn't just you. Your Polius your town, in other words, had to hum as well. You all had to be a well-oiled, well-thinking, well-versed machine, or well self-actualized machine, right? Everybody has to have compassion. If everybody doesn't have compassion, that's when the bad seeds will start to fester. And I'm in the thick of it over here. Okay. So, a blacksmith, like, for example, a blacksmith didn't just forge for himself. He made tools so everyone ate, right? Ladles, scissors, horseshoes. He could have made them all solely for himself. In Pax Dei, for example, I'm a blacksmith. I offer my services willingly. And before they had gold, everybody was like, "Hey, can you make this for me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I had the skill. Why not? We created a society where people would be flourishing, right? As everybody would have the materials and weapons and armor that they could pursue their own passions and their own, what's a good way of putting it? Their own way of playing the game. Getting that cotton. Hopefully not fighting those four. Not that they're tough. Oh my god. They would be if... Oh, I did the wrong combination. That's okay. It's a strong combination, nonetheless. That's interesting. A little bit of mist there. If you listen to the background, they did a really good job, the developers, really making you immersed into the biome that you're currently in, which I thought was still pretty good. They're still refining it. That's who I'll raise if I die. That's a Stella. All right. Let's see. Make sure you have 50 of everything. I can make these. So I'm going to drop those arrows. Oh, here's cotton fiber. I'd rather get the cotton because the arrows are easy for me. I can easily craft the arrows. And I thought there was some cotton down this way. Yeah, there was. See if I can get around this floor without aggroing it. Yeah, pretty easy. I think the rest of the cotton should be up in this area. Okay. So your growth fed the group, right? Everybody's individual growth feeds the group. Individualism and community rise like a rising tide lifts all boats, right? Very important concept to really, as we're forging a society, as we're creating these norms, these literal ways to get everybody on the same society, right? That minority, though, LOC by Udis, that guy, right, was a classic big talk on virtue, but he flipped sides in the Peloponnesian War, right, for his own gain again. Then Athens kicked him out, right, ostracized him. Voted on ostraca shards to do that. Interesting. Thucydides says it worked, calms things down, gave him time out to figure it out, right? Time out, guy. Most stayed solid. Few got a chance to rethink, right? So basically, your minority was the people rethinking, and that's good. That's what you want. You want the minority of the people, or even zero. A couple, not even the minority. Let's go with the exceptions. Sure, there's nothing here. There's something. I'm almost done. There we go. Alright, now I have enough. Okay. Okay, so over in China, 500 BC area, Confucius had harmony, relationships, clicking like gears, right? Parents looked out for kids respected the parents back, leaders led favorably and true, folks they pitched in, kindness, like lending a hand and respect. I hear something. Yeah, I guess I'm not. Okay. Like respect, like hearing out your old man, keeping it tight, right? You want to, you're better self-made. How should I say this? You're making your own outfit, right? Yeah, let me rethink this. Sorry. I'm thinking about something. I'm like, you know what? This is just not. So your better self made the whole outfit better. Make sense? Individual effort for the crew. Like disruptors, Qing Dynasty, officials faked it. Preached harmony, pocketed cash. They shaming the in public, cut it. The Han Dynasty records showed 20% less grift when folks faced the crowd, right? Most stuck to the code. Strays came back when honor mattered, right? From episode 3, compassion. That's our thread, right? Compassion's our thread. So Buddha Metta was wishing good on everybody. The Christian, I want to say agape, was giving without tallying it up, right? 1 Corinthians 13, that kind of reasoning. Stoics like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius said, keep your head, do your job, care without losing it, right? Reason over mush, essentially. Ubuntu from Africa, I am because we are, tied you to your people, right? I didn't think I'd get him. I would have been shocked if I got him. Yeah, I knew I was gonna get the blow. Die in slow. This. Like I said, I made adjustments to my my microphone, so let me know how it's performing. All right, so where were we? Ubuntu, right? South Africa's 1990s talks let excuse me. The 1990s talks let wrongdoers own up and rejoin. 80% stuck per 2005 data. Islamic Adul justice, Rama, which is mercy, kept it fair and kind. Your worth meant the group's good. Does that make sense? Disruptors twisted, of course. Jim Jones turned Meta into Jonestown in 1978, which left 900 dead. Somali toughs warped Ubuntu into us versus them. Iran's enforcers cried justice while clamping down. What's the fix? Well, travel sit-downs sometimes. South Africa has 80% chance of success, showing talking it out beats locking them up. Most went back when they heard, right? Interesting, isn't it? John Rawls, 20th century, said fairness, right? Set rules blind, right? Justice is blind. Help the bot. I'm not sure that second one is, I think have compassion for the bot. He said help the bot. Okay. Oh, for those of you who are new to the game and to my podcast, as I start to go home, I start to work on skinning. Skinning is very important in the game. No, don't want that. Where'd the other guy fall? Hi. Did I fall? How long will it? Oh, there. No. This is the one bad part about hunting at night. I see the one. Is the other guy closer? You have to walk in order to come up on the things, on the, dare I say, the bodies. Carcass. Alright, I'm gonna stop. It's taking too long. My skinning doesn't need that much. Arrows pretty much take out boars when you get them up to wrought iron arrow tips. You could. It takes, I think, 3 wooden arrows at my level, or 2. I could probably get away with it, so, but that's okay. All right. Let's see. So your shot or everyone's shot, taxes for roads, not favoritism, right? CEOs dodge it, right? Amazon 2018. Wow, really? You just want to take everything out. When you get good at hunting, you'll be able to do stuff like that. There we go. All right. I'm going to say this a little bit differently. My notes, and I'll tell you, the way systems and like the way I research is a little bit different from other people. But CEOs don't dodge anything like taxes. They pay low taxes because there's, in the United States, Congress made the tax laws in such a way they could, we'll call them the 1%, can use those laws to their advantage. It's not as beneficial for somebody who has less money, right, to take some of the things the laws they can't use, right? So Denmark, actually, their tax laws are a little bit different, and they cut evasion by 10% for 2023. But a lot of people, whether or not you agree with it or not, especially in the United States, for anybody in foreign countries, you'll have to refer to your tax codes. But a lot of United States citizens are like, well, we just have everybody pay a flat tax, 10%, don't get anything back at the end of the year. Or maybe a flat tax plus a consumption tax. A consumption tax being like a federal sales tax. I'm only taxed on when I'm consuming, right? When I'm actually buying something. And honestly, that's a more fair and just way of doing it. Nobody will say nobody's paying their fair share, right? Because everybody's paying the same, or at least a portion of the same. Okay. So let's talk about the SDT, which is the. Oh, give me a second here. Let's go make some time really quick. There we go. Okay. So autonomy, right? Competence, relatedness. It says you thrive running your show, being good, and having friends, right? UCLA's oxycodone data ties belonging trust to brain stuff from way back. Disruptors fake it. Like the people who are disruptors fake it. Politicians glad hand it, right? Yeah, I'm doing it. Then ditch it, right? Lie. Let's just cut the chase. They lie. Mediation, right? You have Canada's 2022 chalks, which cut work fights 60% per York. Most of the lineup, few need a nudge. Paul Bloom says empathy can tire you. Nessie says it's tribal. Hoffman says kids grow into it. And then there's roots of empathy, which cuts bullying by 50% per 2024 study. Most catch on with push, right? People, once they're made aware of it, that's the push. These from Aristotle to Ubuntu to SDT mix your drive with quote unquote our strength. Few people will buck it. Ostracism, shaming, usually or talks fix most things. Most people thrive, and hope pulls the rest, right? So now let's zoom out. How do societies pull this off? Structures or rules, rules, that's a way of life, however you want to say it, set the stage for flourishing. This is our big finish, so we're going to go deep. Worldwide setups, old lessons, even online spots, all mixing your freedom with quote-unquote our grit, the community's grit. A few always stir trouble, selfish or bull-headed, but we've got solid fixes from way back, and now we can reel them in, right? So look at Scandinavia, Sweden, Norway, Denmark. They are doing really well with their welfare states. Free doctor visits, school, time off from parents. It creates this trust. The World Happiness Report in 2024 puts them on the top 5. Norway's number 1, Sweden's number 3. Taxes stay 50% sometimes, but you get childcare and roads and safety. Your hustle fits their support. Individualism in a society. We can deep dive into more of that because what's their defense budget looks like. What's because 50% of it, your gross your GDP in your household is going to the state for the well-being of somebody else. Again, and right? So New Zealand's well-being budget since 2019 dropped 1.9 billion on just mental health. Wait times went down by 30%, and this is all per their numbers, right? In episode 3, compassion runs big here, right? Folks know they're covered, so they chase their own way. Disruptors, right? Like tax dodgers or Panama Papers in 2016, on Swedes hiding billions. Open records, that would fix it. Stockholm University, 2022, says 15% less dodging in 10 years with open records. Most stick. The stingy see the payoff, better lives, and join up 80% back at it, right? The US actually goes really hard on individualism. Right? Freedom's the drumbeat. Build a business from scratch. Steve Jobs did it with Apple. Or sing your way up like Johnny Cash did. It's your shot, raw and real. But belonging's thin. Robert Putnam's Bowling Alone, the book Bowling Alone, in 2000 tracks it. 1950s lodges to 2023's phone scrolling. Loneliness hit 35% per Cigna, 2023. Katrina in 2005 flipped it. New Orleans raised $1 billion, rebuilt together. Again, the guts of the individual with the societal needs. Everybody was doing their part. I didn't even check out what my what is my. All right, we got. Oh, actually, real close. I'm gonna run back down there, and maybe I'll do that tomorrow night. Because right now I'm level 30. Yep, I'll do that tomorrow night. And I want to say this one. Yes, this is the way. Alright, it's on early. I don't know why I brought it. Oh. And again, a little pro tip here while I'll take a respite from the actual conversation we're having in the podcast. Always repair your stuff before putting it away. And that way you will never have to worry about anything again. This is the way you do this. There's a couple ones, but I'll just do it this way. Here we go. Doomed look. And I'll put all my leather on. So I don't put the ferrotunic on. No. Leather pants, definitely there. Anything else? So put all the metal away. And put on everything. I don't want to do that. I'm Superman. I don't. I look good without. I really want them to make boots as a other boots, but they only put shoes on here. Okay. Don't put away stuff in this. Get a pollution store. Okay. I made a lot of potions. I should have an area here. I have to remember that one. Crap. That's alright. Where am I getting extra? We'll do this. I'm gonna keep potions that I use. Repair, Little OCD here, guys. Sorry. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's So Japan also has a mix, right? It has the group vibe and the personal wins. Crime's like 2.2 per 100,000, as per the U.S. is 5 per 100,000 per 2023 UN's statistics. Trust's old school, right? Like compassion. Sony Tech, Kurosawa films, your mark matters, right? And this is what we're culminating in. Everything you're seeing in today's societies aren't exactly the best societies, but if we can piece together the best of each society, we'll make the best society ever. Like Singapore, 90% of the people own homes via state plans, and the economy's hot. Disruptors, Japan's grind kind of kills. Like there's 20,000 suicides yearly. That's a lot. Singapore clamps down on dissent. Chi Soon Jeon Joanne. He sued, and basically there was restorative talks because of it. Uh, Japan tried to cut repeat trouble in 25%, and Tokyo had this bring them back policy. Most trust, 80%, 2024 polls, and a few ease up when hurt, right? India's Panchayati Raj village councils since 1950s set lets the locals call the shots. Wells, schools, water's up by 20%, right? So there's the UNDP, as per the UNDP in 2023. Your say, our game, right? Disruptors like Crook Skim 2019, Uttar Pradesh, nabbed 200, right? Audits in 2022, trials cut theft by 30% per Delhi, right? It basically keep them honest. Most roll, 70% back it, right? Per surveys. City and rural fights fade with these kind of types of policies. History's got skin in it, right? Cluny monks 980 or 900 C, no 980. Shared all, fed folks, wrote books, right? Eudaimonia, real time, right? That's what they crafted in their society. The greedy abbots like Bernard's Gold Stash, he basically starved everybody around him. The Benedictine councils, they were like, whoa, hello, and they held 300 years strong. Brook Farms in the 1840s crafted art and togetherness. Unfortunately, they were bust by 1847 because of debt and fighting. Onia or Onida co-op voted out, 30 years, 80% smooth per records. Disruptors bent to the crew's call, right? These are all societies that have those detractors, those disruptors. We look at all these examples, right? Like online, for example, you have 50-player guilds in World of Warcraft, and 60% feel it, right? Loot grabbers tank it, 15% quit. I'm like, I'm done. I hate loot grabbers. And here, Pax Dei, if I were to go to the PvP area, I lose everything I carry with me. Although there's really rare stuff there, everybody wants to fight you there. And if you want to go PvP, the game, Pax Dei, gives you the option of going to that. EVE Online, you don't necessarily have the option. Even in the more protected spaces like high sec and low sec, they're not low sec, not being the safest, but it's a degree of security, right? But even in the high sec areas, you could get what they call ganked, right? And it's like, dude, I don't want to play the game if I'm getting ganked every time. It's just not. It doesn't make a cohesive society, right? You want to leave society if you keep getting robbed, stolen from, not trusted, or failing to trust others in your society because they're not doing right. There's a lot to societies, and I think we can craft a lot. So what can we do, right? Well, we can tools. Let's look over tools to build society where your spark shines and your crews are strong. A fuel bucket, selfish and stubborn, but we've got old new fixes to pull them in, like I keep saying. So let's look at community rituals. We talked about rituals. The Cherokee fireside tales. They swapped stories, and they became tighter. They started, you start with a weekly sit down at work, on the street, or online. Um, 30% of in Seattle, a tech crew of 30 folks on Friday. Everybody shares, everybody wins. Um, you if you have these community rituals, you're able to listen to other people's voices. You're able to hear their mistakes, give them the opportunity to say their mistakes. And I'll say it in a way that people might cringe, but give them that safe space that allows them to tell you about these things, because you will grow because of their mistakes. You will grow, and hopefully you won't mimic their mistakes, right? And if you hear that, that's Zevia. It's a non-sponsored spot, but it's a great soda. Let me wet my whistle here. All right. So we have mindfulness, we have meditation. So far, you have the community rituals, then you have meditation. This is more individualistic, right? But you can turn it into a more communal thing, right? But the other aspect to mindfulness or meditation, or whatever you want to say, is you become calmer. You will go out into the world, into the society you're creating, with less stress, right? And it's a big deal. If you're less stressed, there's less of a chance of you, how should I say it? There's less of a chance of you getting angry at somebody for doing something that maybe you think they shouldn't be doing, right? It's a big deal. Meditation, I say it with meditation, right? But what else could meditation be? Well, meditation can be a lot of things. But let's talk about meditation being prayer. When you're in prayer, you meditate. It's as simple as that. Let's see. Yeah, let's look at the sunrise. There we go. All right. So you have education, the roots of empathy, right? We want to have these programs, math, reading, arithmetic, reading, writing, arithmetic. Great for a core curriculum. Well, why aren't we teaching the roots of empathy? Like, people to be empathetic to one another. Not sympathetic, mind you, empathetic. There is a difference. You can be sympathetic, but use it sparingly. Empathy goes a longer way in a communal society. So why aren't we teaching our kids and everybody about being empathetic? Religions normally had this space. They normally took this space, but to be quite frank, I don't have the statistic in front of me. But there are a lot less people going to religious services, right? In the Christian faith, Christ is a center point of the faith, and he was about empathy. He was about compassion. He was still tough, but he also had a redemption path for people. A lot of people say, hate the sin, love the sinner. Yeah, sure. But Christ was, if you read the stories, Christ was the embodiment of that. And Roots of Empathy is another one. Look it up. It's great. It's a great read. But these are things, and one of the things that I also want to point out is each one of these solutions, we're taking the best out of them. We don't want to, if you think something is not good, read it in its context, do your critical thinking. Literally in the education, teach critical thinking. Teach Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, Confucius.
There's a couple Indian philosophers that I would teach as well. I cannot pronounce their name right now, so forgive me. So what else can we do? Well, we can use tech, right? And maybe we have humility-driven virtue systems. We came up with this idea in episode 3, right? So what is a HDVS? Well, the game actually gives you credit for things you do for other players, right? How do you contribute to the online society? In Pax Dei, I can think of like 100 different things, 100 different ways. The grace system, as a matter of fact, is an amazing tool to use, because the grace points, right, are expensive. And you get so many per 24 hours by gold. But what's to say you can't use the grace system for an HDVS or a humility-driven virtue system? You made something and gave it away. You get 2, points of grace. These are things that provide for society. Could they be abused? Yes. We should definitely look at how people would abuse these systems. But again, detractors, you're not making, or disruptors, you're not making society for the disruptors, you're making society for the majority of the people, right? And of course, policy can drive societal change. At work, right? Do you have flexible work, UBI, or maybe remote work, or for some jobs, right? Or you have to return to office. Well, what can you provide to that workplace environment? It doesn't have to be a cash reward. It doesn't have to be anything, but you should be empathetic. There was an instance, a period of time where we were forced to stay home. And it lasted, in my opinion, a little too long. But in all that, coming back to the office, it's 2 years later. People have gotten used to being at home, doing their job at home. So bring them back with some type of policy improvements that create or craft a society back at the office. Some offices choose like office parties and such. To me, that's not a good idea. And the reason saying is people don't come to the office for food. They come to the office to complete a task or to do their assigned responsibilities. But what about creating a society at work? Well, you can still do that. And we call them communal meetups, right? We already had that, right? So we have the mindfulness, we have the meditation, we have the policies, right? So there's a lot that we can craft and style to create rituals, right? This is your tool. Individually, you can create an individual ritual, but maybe the workplace crafts a ritual for the workplace. And it doesn't have to be anything, overly complex. It just could be as simple as, somebody who gets to the office and helps somebody, above and beyond their job. They get recognition of some sort, above and beyond just simply the recognition in a recognition type of game. I don't know. I'm just spitballing, right? But basically, what I'm saying here in episode 118 is flourishing is the tune that we need to sing. Belonging, self-actualization. We're riding episode 3's compassion. Go back to episode 3 or 117. So it's worth it. You're looking at, Maslow, Aristotle, SVT, economics, and all of them are saying connections are
our roots. Selfish and contrary are the disruptors. But we have things in our toolbox to levy just rewards for them. Ostracism. We can talk to them. You have rules. Make sure they're transparent. There's also voting, right? The transparent voting. So hope's our engine, and through this series, it's my desire that everybody sees the society we're crafting today as not the best. We need to do better for each other and ourselves, right? Compassion builds belonging, and then we can grow. Rituals, policy, your spark, it fires up, right? We've seen like Clooney monks to Minecraft crews. Can belonging scale? I think so. It takes freedom and grit. Is tech for good or ill? Well, our society can determine that. If everybody has a opportunity, then all can grow. Again, a rising tide raises all boats, or lifts all boats, right? This world we're trying to craft is your shot, our strength, right? And it's good. It is very much that much. We can be individuals, and we can have a healthy society of the whole. There's always a handful that's going to push back, and always will. But compassion's stronger. Pulling them in with the ways that stick, from Athens to now. And reflect. It's a time when reflect on a time you fit and pass it on. Act. Kick off the sit down. Push a rule. Small, it could be small, small one or big one. Engage people. Build in the engagement. In episode 119, creativity's up. This sets the stage, right? I don't know what I'm going to do for 119, but it might be on creativity. I'm not sure. This series was pretty heavy. But I might want to follow up with if anybody does join the live stream. I know it's going to be a Saturday night, but society is so important. I believe truly that when you improve yourself, you will improve others. When you improve yourself, you have the time to improve others. For example, if you don't put on we when we fly, we always get this, right? When you fly, you have to put on your mask before you can help others. Well, why is that? Well, if you don't, you kind of die, and they'll die. So, but if you put on your mask, you have an opportunity to keep them alive as well. All right, well, that's tonight's episode, honestly. Went a little over. I gave you some stats. I have more. I didn't read because I didn't want to make it too stat heavy. But we learn from our history, and we learn from each other.
learn from modern times. Leaders need to be more empathetic. They need to have the ability to talk it out. We have to have the ability to forgive. And everybody needs to act like they can be forgiven. Some people won't even forgive themselves. Maybe we'll talk about that. Maybe, I don't know. Let me think about that. But until then, we did some cotton. We got some cotton. Tomorrow night we'll probably get more cotton so we can actually go up and tail it. But until then, I'd like to thank everybody for listening. And if you have any questions, put them in the comment section. Hit the like, subscribe, share the show with your friends. I do put out shorts on episodes like this. So tomorrow I have 5 planned for this episode. So please, if you do YouTube, the shorts area, I will be putting out shorts. And if you put on music, goes to YouTube. I also put it on Rumble. I put the old episodes of this on Rumble as well. It's not a live show yet. I'm still trying to figure out Rumble's live show capabilities. It shouldn't take me but a moment, because as of right now on YouTube, I'm getting like a couple views, and it's not during the live show. It's actually, I don't even know when it is, honestly. Let me see if I can pull it up. Like tonight, I have no live viewers. So, not disappointed. I get a lot of viewers afterward, and I don't expect people to make the live show. But yeah, I do put the stream on Rumble as well. So with all that said, we will talk to you tomorrow night. Play the game a little bit more as we discuss the next topic. I haven't come up with the next topic. I'm going to come up with it tomorrow. I'll post it on X so you know before we go. Before we get to the live stream. And maybe, just maybe, I'll have enough time to figure out the Rumble live stream. So until then, thanks for listening, and keep improving yourselves, and let's improve society together. Have a good one, everyone.
With every step, a lesson learned. From fire's heat to the fields I've turned. The blade and bow, the forge and flame. I sharpen my skills, I play the game. Each day brings a challenge I must face. I train my hands with careful grace. From alchemy's art to the hunter's way, I'll find the strength to seize the day. I carve my path, I walk the line, in the shadow of the ancient sign. Through trial and toil, I'll find my way, learning more with each passing day. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I'll face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight. From the herbs I find to the iron I mold, each lesson learned is a story told. The stars above, they guide my hand. As I hone my craft, I take my stand. In the quiet woods, in the mountains chill, I push myself, I shape my will. With each new tool and every lore, I'm stronger now than I was before. I carve my path, I walk the line, in the shadow of the ancient sign. Through trial and toil, I'll find my way, learning more with each passing day. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I'll face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight. The road is long, but I won't turn back. The lessons I learned keep me on track. With each new skill, the stronger I grow. In the face of the storm, I let my courage show. I've tasted defeat, I felt the sting, but I rise again with each new spring. For knowledge is power, and wisdom the key. I'm forging my path, I'm breaking free. The skill of survival, the will to thrive. In a world where the strong survive, I'll face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight.